Welcome to It's Your House. I'm Carrie, and I'm super excited to have Diane Henkler with us today, who is an interior designer, a DIY expert. I don't think there's a project she hasn't tackled, and she is she's redoing her home. She's been redoing her home, and you can find her on her blog called In My Own Style, and you can see all of her projects. There's so much content there, so many amazing projects. Like if you want something DIY, I would go there to figure out how Diane's done it, because if she hasn't done it, I don't think anybody's tried it.
Now, there's a lot of things I haven't done.
She
Yeah.
was an interior designer. You wrote a book called Instant Decorating, and I think before you did all that, you went to Fashion Institute of Technology,
That's correct.
and you were like a display designer, right?
Mhm. That was my first job out of college.
Yeah, the very first one.
Mhm.
And how did you get interested in design, Diane? Like, where did that come from?
It goes way back to when I was a kid, playing with Barbies. Making the Barbie house and making sure the furniture had cushions on it that matched the little rug that would made have been a scrap of fabric or something. I was always into that. And then I never had my own room, so I always was dreaming up concepts for room, like a bedroom. My whole life, it wasn't until college that I actually had my own room that I could actually do with it what I wanted to. My mom always let us do what we wanted, but it was just like my own. I could really put my stamp on it. And my mom, I grew up in a house that was, my mom was into decorating, so she was always doing. She wasn't as DIY as I am, but the house always looked pretty, and she's
Yeah.
always moving furniture. You never knew what she was good. You never coming home from school, you never knew what surprise was going to be there and decor wise in the house. So I just was part of my upbringing to do that.
Did she get you involved in doing that, or did you just,
Not really. No, not really.
yeah,
Um, just what later on in life she would ask me, what do you think of this? But not when I was a kid or even in high school or
right,
college.
right.
And I remember one time they had a in the dining room there was a fixture that was there for a long time and it was dark. And I just said to her, you should put like a one with a gold tone in there. And she's like, oh yeah, that would look great. She went out and got it that week. So
Awesome.
yeah, so she would listen to what I said, but yeah.
I have the exact opposite scenario. My I'll give my mom advice and she just won't ever
Yeah,
take it, which is fine. It's
yeah.
perfect. It's wonderful. Is what it
She,
is.
yeah, yeah. And I've learned a lot of little things from her too. Just keeping, it's your house. That is, you want it your way. You don't want it to have some decorator stamp on it that says
Absolutely.
this. So she always preached that. You have to have your own style. That's why I named my blog In My Own Style, because she was very according to anything, your house, your how you acted, your clothes, everything. Just dress and decorate. How you feel in your head. Don't try to copy anybody.
Yeah, that's perfect. You had like a great role model for that.
She was.
So you mentioned you started with Barbie, and I think I read that your first DIY was like piercing Barbie's earlobe.
Ears. Yep, with straight pins. You cut the wire cutters, you got the straight pin, cut the pointy part out, and you just push them through her ears. And we had all different colors. Yeah, that was definitely my first DIY.
And you did like a Barbie house. Did you have the dream house or the
No, see,
car
we
or
didn't have any of that. We had to make, we made it out of cardboard. Cardboard, we'd go up to the supermarket and we'd get cardboard boxes and then we'd make them. We'd cut out doors and then put little inserts and fabric, paint, whatever little things, the inside and tops of soda bottles. There used to be a little rubber thing and you pull it out.
yes,
That
yes,
was our dishes.
those were the
Barbie,
plates.
yeah, all that. We found everything. We were very resourceful to try to get our own little, our doll houses decorated.
And then when you got to college, what did you do to your college room? How did you trick that out?
Well, the first college room I had, exactly one half was my room, and my mom had made this really cool bedspread that it was fur and it covered, and then right where the head was, the fabric flipped. So then you would lay it down on the bed, put the pillow on where it was reverse fabric, and then bring that fabric over so it was so easy to make. Since that was everybody sat there, you wanted something that was tough and durable. So that was great. And that was this was back in the 70s, late 70s. Brown and orange were very
Oh, yes, I
trendy.
remember.
So my room was pretty much brown, orange, and like a hint of purple, maybe even like a little magenta in there.
Nice.
So yeah, I had bulletin boards, and I had the whole wall all like a mood board of mostly fashion and on the wall and stuff like that. That was my decor back then.
Yeah, I remember ripping out pictures from magazines, and like I put them on my wall in like this big stripe pattern that went
Yeah,
all the way
around
around.
right, colorful and inspiring. People always looked, and they would understand your style. That's cool. Very
Yeah,
cool
it was
and
fun.
inexpensive.
Right, inexpensive. So what kind of advice would you give people that are watching if they're interested in design?
To decorate their house, that they should just keep their eyes open for anything. You don't have to be in a furniture store or a designer showroom. You could be at a movie theater and see somehow they put together two colors in a sign, or even just out in nature, you see how the bark is rough against the smooth leaf and see how pretty that looks. Just look at everything and say, oh, I could do that in my house some way. Just keep looking for ideas everywhere you go, and then don't be afraid to try it. If you get an idea, I mean, if it's really expensive, I understand you can't really do that, but just start thinking, how can you be more resourceful to make it happen? At least try, or start small. Say you see this is the best advice too, but so many people are afraid to paint a room. Like, say right now, dark colors are really in, and that's a huge, from going from light and bright to a dark, moody color. And that's a big expense because paint is not cheap these days.
Right.
And then just your time and effort to put it in. So start with something small, do a powder room or do your closet, something, and see how you like it. And then you're like, oh, I really like this. Then go for the bigger room. Don't do the big thing first. Always start small and try that. And just keep your eyes open. Go to the public library. The public library is just so underused. And look at old decorating books. People are like, always want new ones, but the old decorating books have so much information and ideas. And the pictures might look old, but look past the age of them and look at the actual, what they did, how they put things together. You'll come out with tons of ideas. I always take I call my library days. I go all day, and I have a pad and a pencil, and my cell phone now too. I just look through tons and tons of books, write down ideas that I see. It might just be the silliest little thing, like a tassel on a key, or a mirror above, or layering a mirror on top of a mirror. You just see little ideas. Just write them all down. You might not ever do them, but they're there in your head. And you have it written down so you won't forget.
Yeah,
so I just find that that's the best way to, and then just start small, or if you're out, say at Target, and you're really thinking, oh, I really need to update my dining room, and you see placemats in a color you like, then get those. And then that could be your start. That placemat fabric could be your start to go on and do the rest of the room.
So start somewhere. Just
start, right. Usually small, or if that you buy this brand new sofa, it's actually in your house, then you could start, looking for things to go with that. And don't rush. You don't have to do it all at once, because then it will just look like a catalog. You don't want it to look like a catalog. You want it to look like your house and that people live there. So I would just say, take your time. It doesn't have to be done in a day, a week, and a year. It could just evolve, doing it slowly. You pick out the best stuff, and it slowly starts to look like you want, and you feel comfortable in the room.
That's so smart, because I think also doing it slowly, you get a chance to like feel the space,
Definitely.
live in the space.
Or
and there are things that come to you that you wouldn't ever think of if you just rush it through.
Right. Or you think like, oh, I got this chair, but this doesn't feel right in this room. It doesn't feel, you have to, don't be afraid to move something in and out, or, oh, you think if sofa has to be on this wall. And then after like a few months, you're like, oh, maybe let's move it over here. It's so much better. Nothing's set in stone. You can always change it.
Right.
Always.
Right. And you said something so smart about your library days and looking back through old stuff. We're so like conditioned right now. I don't know if it's always been like this or if it's just really recently that new, what's new, what's new, what's new? Let's look at the new, let's look at the new. And it's like there's so much content and so much inspiration that has already been done. Like it's literally all been done already.
It has.
So if we just look through all that, and just open our eyes to it.
Yeah. I think, everything now too with on blogs and websites, it's all about affiliate marketing, buy something new, the new trends. And sometimes it's just taking something. This is what I love to do, is take something that I already own and try to make it like a new trend with some of my stash of supplies that I have. Like right now I have I bought it at Target a few years ago. It's a big glass planter, like vase. And it's glass and it just doesn't look right. And I'm trying to decorate my room for fall and it just doesn't look right. So I want to smear plaster all over it and then dunk it in like brown and black and beige paint. And then I'll get what I want, so I'm not afraid to, if it mess, I don't like it the way it is right now. So what do I have to lose to try to do something to it? And I have all the supplies. So, but then it takes something that looks trendy, but it's not, it's new to me, but I don't have to throw something away. It doesn't end up in the landfill. I don't have to spend money for something new. And then it makes whatever I have unique. Nobody else has it. So it makes my house look more like my house. And I love to see things around my room that I put my hand on. That is my design in my head, like, oh, I made it happen. I would love to be a product designer someday. I have tons of ideas for like products, but this is my way of doing it since no manufacturer has come to me and said, would you design a line? No.
Well, I think we need to start going to manufacturers, Diane.
Yes,
I think that's awesome.
Uh-huh.
I see that for you.
That would be fun. I have a list.
Awesome. How do you, I love the way you take stuff that you already own and you repurpose it like to death. It's like so impressive. And I was reading about, you did a side table and you're just persistent. Like you just keep going back in and repainting. And this, I read it on your blog. It was hysterical. You were like, I painted it and then it looked like mud and I almost threw it out. How do you just keep going? Like, where does that come from?
Well, I think after I graduated from college and I did get a job in display, I have to give my display background huge credit because we had to make the store look good with no money, no budget whatsoever, maybe like $50 a month to buy everything. And we had to be resourceful with what we had, what we gathered. We would bring in stuff from outside, from our homes, nature, big branches, whatever. We'd have to find a way. If we needed to hang curtains in a faux little bedroom vignette, we didn't have curtain rods. We would use the clothes hangers from the store and fashion like these wire things to make it look like a curtain hang. Everything was resourceful. So, and we had to remake everything. One table probably had 7 different looks, in my time that I worked there. You just had to keep looking. So when I see something that, that table that you had said was the blue one, the denim, it's on my husband's side of his night table. I did it. It was for a Glidden project to paint something with their color blue. And so I put wallpaper on the top and that worked okay. And then we moved. It was right before we moved. And then when I moved it to this house, it just didn't look great. And so I kept it that way. And then I painted it. And then it was like I said, it looked like mud. It just was horrible. And then I just thought of, it's blue. I don't want to have to redo the whole thing. And I had I had just bought white wax for my kitchen table. And I thought, let me try that over. And I did. And I'm like, oh, it looks like denim. So then I just kept going until it an easy thing. So now I love it, and it's been that way ever since. And so it had a bottom, so I like to make it look like a little more casual. So I found a basket that fit the bottom, so it has like a 2-layered look. But so I just keep looking at it and say, yeah, it's got potential. If it has potential, then I'll keep at it.
Yeah, I love to paint myself. Like I love to paint the walls,
Mm-hmm.
but anything else, sometimes I've had success and sometimes I haven't. And so I get a little frustrated and I do not have your perseverance. I mean,
I've had, yeah, I've had things that didn't come out the way I thought. I'm like, oh, this, and so if it's just paint, you can quickly wash it off. This happened to me. I had a black, no, was it black? I don't even remember what it was. It was a planter, and it had these rings on it. It was just embellished, so it was all black. But it was way too formal for my taste. And this was years and years ago. So I thought, oh, I'll paint it. I'll paint it purple. So I painted it all purple, and I was like, didn't look right. And then it dry. I couldn't get the paint off. So then I was like, okay, I'll paint it white. So I spray painted it white. So I have this white planter. Okay. But then I was like, it just didn't. So then as soon as I finished painting with the spray paint, and I was like, this doesn't do it. I stuck it in the sink and started scrubbing the whole thing. And I got the most amazing patina on the base. I was like, oh my gosh, this looks amazing. It was like black, purple, and white, but it was all just, it was great. My daughter still has it. She has it at her house now.
I love that.
So it was something like but when I washed it off to start fresh is when I saw, wow, this is great. So keep looking, just keep, you never know. You
keep going. Yeah, I can do that. I mean, I can imagine doing that with like the small stuff, but I'm thinking myself, my own journey with my kitchen cabinets that I've painted. And those are tough because they take a lot of wear,
They do. Yeah. And that's not, when you're kitchen cabinet painting, it's doable, but you really have to make sure that the paint is going to adhere, because otherwise then it just comes off and then they look awful.
Right.
So you really have to do it right. There's probably a million kitchen cabinet painting website,
exactly.
posts, but most of them are pretty good. But it's getting the prep work is key in that, and because most paints nowadays are very good, but it's the prep work is what makes it last.
Yeah. So when you find inspiration from wherever you find it, I know you travel and you have library days and you get inspiration from a gajillion places. When you find something that you love, how do you then make it your own? How would you kind of guide someone through that?
When you see something, you're like, oh, this has my name all over it. I have to have this. And things like that, usually you can put it anywhere in your house because it's just something you love it, and your style, and you find something like that, it could be put anywhere. It's just playing around with it, bringing it home and putting it in where you want to see it the most, since you love it. Put it on the floor, put it on a table, move it all around, put it behind something, on a shelf. Just keep trying it in different areas. Maybe it needs to be paired with something. Like it's small and you need something big, and have like a trio of things on a table or something. Just play with it. Keep playing with it, and to keep it in your view. If you want to see it, you don't want to just hide it away. And then if nothing's coming to, like, you're not really liking, then take it to another room and see. Take it inside, outside. Just keep moving it around until you're like, oh, that's its home right there. That's where it looks good. And maybe at the holidays, you move it somewhere else and do something different with it. It doesn't always have to stay static. It can be mixed and paired with anything else for the seasons, or you can put, if it's a vase, you can put ribbon around it. You can just keep changing it, giving it a new little life without damaging it, and it will stay forever then, but you won't ever get bored of it either.
So if it's something that you love, that you're drawn to, like, that's the key.
And
right?
It doesn't, and that too, some people like, oh, I love this, but what would I do with it? Well, just if you love it and then you'll find something to do with it. Unless you don't have room for it. Like if it's a big piece, then you can't really put something like that in your house. But smaller items, you usually can just to just find that and just keep and if you know if you love it and going through your mind, but oh, it's not, and it looks like old fashioned or it looks out of date or something, who cares?
Right.
It makes your house look unique.
Right.
Everybody will know that's your house because you have this piece. And you might think it's dated, but the way you style it in your home might make all your friends and neighbors say like, wow, that looks great. Why didn't I think of that? So just always go with your gut.
Yeah, that was my next question. What if you love it and then you're scared, you get nervous that, nobody else will love it?
But what does it matter that everybody else doesn't love it? It's yours. It's in your house. They're not living with it. They don't have the memory or the feelings that you get when you see that or touch it or whatever. They don't know it. They have something in their own house, probably the exact same. They have a favorite item too that they probably think people won't get why I have this, in my house. But if it brings you joy and it makes you smile, then that's all that matters. It's your house.
Yeah.
Your house, your rules, you are the boss.
You are the boss. It's your house. Exactly. I read on your blog, and I thought this was fantastic advice. If you're the only person you had to impress, how would you decorate your home? So how do we dig into that?
Well, it's again finding things that you like. Like, oh, I love this vase or this picture frame or this plant. Like, oh, I just love the colors in that. Just bring it home. It might seem like an eclectic mix to others, but in your head, it can all meld. And I find that things that we like all do have a theme in our own style. It's our own way, our own aesthetic, so to speak. So even if nothing has to match ever, it's nice to have things coordinated, and it's nice to have things that are with the elements of design. You want things to look balanced with each other. You want them to have function. You want them to have space around them. All that kind of stuff is very important. But you just start bringing things in you love, and it starts just coming together. And say, again, a lot of people with retail nowadays, say you go to Home Goods or TJ Maxx and you find a great comforter for your bed. Just save your receipt, bring it home, look at it, see it. Oh, I love it. This is perfect. Now I'm going to go back and get the pillows. Or this color looks horrible against the wallpaper. Pack it all back up, take it back. So there's a lot of trial and error in building that. But luckily, I save every receipt that I get. And I take a lot of stuff back because I try it out first and see, yes, this is good. My husband's used to me. I have a line of packages every week because I don't live very close to stuff. So I might buy stuff one week and then next week, whatever didn't work goes back. And especially like with lamps and lampshades and stuff like that, they're tricky to get. If you get a lamp and you need to get a lampshade, you either have to bring the lamp to the store or bring the lampshade home and try it out, because it's 9 times out of 10, it's not going to fit right. You're going to take it back until you find a new one, a good one.
Where did you get that? You have such guts in just trying stuff and, making it your own. Where do you think that came from? Was it like the way you grew up, or was it trial and error? What do you think?
I think it's the way I grew up. Like my parents just, we could do anything. They, just do it. If that's what you like, that's what we want you to do. But again, also the fearlessness is my display background. You just had to do it. It had to be done. I had to get something made by the end of the day, because all the big wigs from corporate were coming to look at this department, and it had to be just perfect. And so, it was kind of, pressing, but you're constantly thinking very, it taught me to be super, super resourceful and not be afraid. Okay, what if I do this? What if I take a piece of that cardboard over there and glue it to the bottom of this and make a stand? Or, just take one piece off of something and add something else to it. Or, sometimes, you see fabric or something, or a pillow, and you love the pillow and it has some fringe or something that you don't like on it, rip the fringe off, and it just, nothing has to stay the same at all. You can change anything. So it came to me, I became fearless to just try it. And it's only an item, it's material stuff. It's not the end of the world if it gets wrecked, unless I wouldn't maybe do it on like a priceless antique, but something that really has just value to you and is not going to hurt your life if it doesn't turn out.
Yeah, I'm quite literally just trying to get rid of that fear everywhere in my life.
I think most people have fear. They're just afraid. Or if they do have, they want to go and do it, it's finding the time to do it. Time, and then the next thing is money. Okay, if it's something expensive, then they have to save up for it. So it's always fear, time, and money are the three obstacles to get you forward. But you just plan it out and just kind of do one thing at a time.
Yeah. And I think I'm hearing you say what's been successful for you has just been keep going. Like if something doesn't work, then you try it again. You don't then just hole up and decide you're not going to do it again. That's like a death knell, I think.
That's definitely right. And it's with the blue nightstand. It fit there perfectly. And it was like the blue as an overall color for that nightstand was what that area needed in the room. But it was just, no, I'm going to get this. I wasn't afraid to try the different painting techniques and stuff because just needed paint. But yeah, it's just not giving up and looking at everything with a different eye. That's the biggest. I always, one of the popular projects on my site that I guess it comes from Pinterest and stuff is I did a fake window above the door. What's it called? Transom.
Yeah.
And the way I came up with that, I was in my younger daughter was moving into her dorm room and it was all crowded. And she had one of those back, the cheap back of the door Walmart mirrors, and I needed to move it. And I picked it up and I had to bring it over all these boxes. And as I had the mirror in my hand and I was moving it across the room, and it went across, visually it went across the door, and I stopped and I put it back and I'm like, oh, that looks like a transom. So then when I got home, I went and bought one of those mirrors and some molding and I tried it. I'm like, oh my God, this looks great. So, and it just was a great way to reflect light in this room that I had in my previous house. But I did it in this house too, with a dark spot to just reflect light.
Yeah. I think I saw that in your hallway next to your amazing laundry room.
That was cute. That with the vintage maps. And that's another thing too.
Idea?
I love maps. I would be a map drawer, geologist, geography, everything. I just love the earth and how everything comes together. I love the colors of those maps. And as a child, National Geographic would come and I'd open the maps. I just wanted to see them. That was my favorite thing. So when I saw on Etsy, it was on eBay. No, it's an eBay, a pack of maps for like $20. I bought them. And I took out all the ones that had brown and I saved all the ones with all the colorful ones with blue. And not knowing what I was going to do with them. But then when we moved to this house and I needed to come up with some wallpaper, I do, those maps would be great. So that was, and then that cost nothing. I mean, it was my time, I had to buy wallpaper paste and stuff like that, but it was a fun project and it's unique to my house. It's mine. The way I actually did it, some people can put map wallpaper where I actually cut the maps up and did like a decoupage on the wall in a way.
Yeah. I love that little room.
Yeah, it's a very functioning room.
I love the way it's, it's hidden behind the doors. So you open the doors and then it's like, ooh, excitement.
Yeah, my house isn't that small, but it's whoever designed it, they did a good job with how they fit things into spaces and then how every room has a triple sliding glass door in it so that it's all facing the lake. So it gets plenty of light. It's very well designed.
Yeah, it's a beautiful house. Have you done another house tour? I know you did one
No, I
video.
didn't, but I should do one soon because from that last tour, there's nothing probably the same. And it's not that I have the same furniture, but it's just, I keep changing things. And I made a coffee table for my previous house. It was a farmhouse. It was with Anna White's designs. And I actually just gave that to the thrift store this morning because I'm like, I don't need that anymore. I'm going on to different things.
Awesome. Perfect.
Yeah. And if I had if I had a big house and I had a storage room, would keep it, but there's no reason for me to keep it. So I gave that away.
So we've talked a lot about, finding what you love. What if someone is just stumped and they are like, I don't know what I love? They're just like kind of stuck and frozen.
Well, then the best thing to do is they don't know what they love is to look at their clothes, look at your clothing, pick out, do you like prints? Do you like flowers, purple flowers on your shirts? What is it that, and then, okay, find out what you like about that. And then, or just even, do you like silver? Do you like gold? Do you like that? So then say you need a new kitchen light fixture. Oh, there's so many. Well, what do you like, gold or do you like silver? What are the doorknobs in your house? Like try to just look at it that way to choose, okay, this is probably a color, this brass. I think I like this brass one because I do like gold jewelry, and try with that. You just have to try. You just got to get in there and try. And again, like I said earlier, just small stuff, small step by step, or it just get out there and just not to buy anything, but just start browsing every shop you can and just start looking at every little thing in the stores and go to all the stores you can in your area. And then just kind of, even take pictures with your phone of like, oh, I like this. And you just say, I have to show this to my husband to see if he likes it. I'll be back. You're just looking for ideas if they give you a hard time, but they don't. Nobody ever gives you a hard time.
No, everybody takes pictures everywhere now.
And, but just start looking at stuff, take the pictures all around all the different places and then look at them and then be like, oh, you might start seeing a theme. Oh, I like farmhouse. Oh, I like real modern. You'll start seeing a theme of the things that you like. So then that should give you confidence to say, okay, here's the theme. Here's the style that it looks like I'm gravitating to. So then buy one thing in that style and just keep adding on to it as you go. That's probably the best way to. And then, so a lot of people, I have a post about this and it was a fun post that we all have our own style, even if we're decorate traditionally or, modern, but we all have our own little take on it, especially amongst, my readers and, they're all into decor and stuff. So they all have their own little ways they can vary a style. So it's like, what is your name of your style? So I like white things. I like woodsy things, but I'm not rustic. And I like traditional things, but I'm like white and woodsy. So that's how I'd say my taste is, especially from my living room and my kitchen is like white and woodsy. I tried the dark colors. I know I need white, but I like rustic, but I'm not like rustic. I'm not vintage and I'm not, the only time I like vintage is at Christmas time. But you just come up with a name of what your style is, and then that might help you too.
Yeah.
When you pick up something, does this say white and woodsy to me? That's, just keep playing with it. And there's no rush to do it. Unless you have an empty room and you need seating, then you're going to have to make it just decisions. So
unless people are coming over, right? I have gotten tripped up in, what is the specific name of my style? So I love that. Like, just pick it. Like,
right. Honestly, just pick it. I mean, most people know traditional, modern, country, rustic, coastal, so maybe, coastal, like Serene and Lily coastal, but maybe you're not all that like coastal rustic, just doesn't have to be one word. It could be one or two or three words that you tag on together to make it fit into your, And sometimes too, another way, when you choose like 3 colors that you want to, that you like, and start with those 3 colors within the rooms of your house. And that will create a flow. And then you'll start seeing, oh, my house is looking nice now. It's decorated, because everything isn't just haphazard. Do you know, like you're trying to make it flow. So if you pick a color scheme, for the whole house, say 5 or whatever, but just keep, don't have like an oddball color all of a sudden for something major, unless you want that as a focal point. Like, I want this to be all by itself, like a spotlight on it.
Right.
So it's like my piece, that's kind of fun too. But most people that are just starting wouldn't have that confidence to do that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what about people who, they've kind of just tried to fit a mold their whole life, and that hasn't really spoken to them. And now they're trying to define really what's me. Like, I think there are a lot of people out there like that.
Mm-hmm.
I worry about them, actually, because I know they're not happy like that. And
right.
I want them to break out and be themselves,
Well, they think that they are, like, they feel like they have to have what's trending to make their house look nice.
Right. Or wear the right
They really feel at home. There's a book here. It's on my little stack. Oh, here, I'm going to take it right here. It's one of my favorite books. I have a stack of books on top of my computer so that it's level, and you don't seem like me chin.
Right, exactly. I have the same stack of books. I'm not going to pull my books
out. I don't know if it's going to be backwards because it's video.
Yeah, I can see it.
Alexander Stoddard, Feeling at Home. It's an old book from the 90s, late 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
I think this was the 90s.
Yeah.
And she says it right? It's, do you feel at home in your house, or do you feel like you're sitting in a catalog? Does it have any meaning to you?
Right.
Is your child's artwork on the wall? Do you know, is grandma's painting that was over the mantle of your family home, is that in your house? Does that bring you joy? You want to make it feel at home. Do you feel at home? That's what you should ask yourself. And if you don't, then it's time to start putting more of your individual taste into it, and your character, your family's personalities into the house. If somebody plays tennis all the time, then maybe, you hang tennis rackets on the wall, something. You just have to give the house personality. And then you might find that you love your house then. And it feels good to you. And then others will actually like it too, because it will be so unique. And they'll be like, oh, why didn't I think of that? That is such a great idea.
And then
your house is so you. That's the greatest compliment anybody could give anybody. Your house is so you. It says you all over.
And then, you feel at home in it, and you're a better version of yourself, and it's welcoming to them, and they feel fantastic in it as well.
Exactly. And then for you, and then you feel good, then your health is better too, because you love your house and you're no stress.
I love that, Alexander Stoddard. I had a question, but it left me.
She was great before her time. Almost. She wrote Living a Beautiful Life, which was just groundbreaking at the time. And I had met her years ago, and she had said if she could repeat that book, that was just her bestseller ever. And it's still classic to read, although it's kind of dated because there's no cell phones or anything like that in it. But still, her message is there, and it's just living beautifully with just simple things, your favorite things around. They don't have to have everything perfect. It could be something from the thrift store that you put your personality on. But yeah, it's this. Here's the defining who you are and how you want to live. That's what that book. I'm pretty sure you can still get it on Amazon too.
Yeah,
but it's definitely worth a read.
Brings us back to like that history. Let's look at the old stuff. Like, it's all there already. Yeah.
Well, what's saying? Everything comes around, goes around.
Always.
Always. Even when I go in some of the design stores and furniture stores now, I'm like, oh no, it's the 70s.
I know.
Brown, when I was in college, brown is happening now. And I'm like, am I going to do this?
Well, when the brown and the orange and the avocado green come back, I don't know. Are we going to go there? I don't think so.
So yeah, well, I always call my sister who. Then we're like, oh my God, did you see such and such Pottery Barn has? Does that remind you of seventh grade? You know, the what was happening or what we saw at the mall? You know, it's just the brown. It's just so funny how it comes back. It always comes back a little differently, but it still comes back.
Yeah.
It's fun.
As we wrap up, Diane, do you have anything that you'd want to leave people with today?
Just more of like what we were saying, to not be afraid, just to start small. If you really want to make your house look better or more like you, or just more decorated, or just not to just start small, take it one step at a time. There's no rush to do it. Everything can be changed. Say you get a chair, you know, it's a hand-me-down chair, and you just the upholstery is just doesn't go at all with what you like, but you can't afford a new chair. You know, look around for tablecloths, whatever, and just try different ways to cover it, or just get a real pretty throw or put a pillow on it. Just change what it is. Nothing has to stay static. You can change everything. And paint is your best friend if you're starting out too, especially if you're on a budget. You know, buy a thrift store lamp, spray paint, and you got a new lamp.
Yeah.
So just keep working at it, and try to, as you work more, your confidence will build. And once you have the confidence, then you'll be going on a roll, and you'll create the best house ever.
Yeah.
And you'll feel at home.
If you just keep doing it, and if something doesn't work, if you just try again instead of like retreating, your confidence will build, and it's all.
Don't give up. Don't give up, because what there's Thomas Edison has he tried 2,000 times to create the light bulb, and on the 2001st time he did it. So you just keep that in the back of your mind too.
Perfect. Love it, Diane. It's been just a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much.
It's great talking to you. Thanks for inviting me to be part of your podcast.
Awesome. Thanks, Diane.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, you too.